Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big games in the VC yesterday all around the world, especially in the Americas. 100 Thieves getting a big result on the board, especially with Loud making a surprise roster change in many respects, and it nearly worked out for them, but not quite enough. Sentinels versus EG though, an absolute masterclass. A disaster class on the Evil Geniuses side, but Sentinels won't care too much about that. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. Starting here, finally they confirmed it after all the rumours over the last few days, the screenshots that were leaking from scrims and stuff like that. Like, at the end of the day, these screenshots that get leaked from scrims, if the teams want to try and avoid the leaks, then they just need to use alternate accounts, because that is a solution, right? If you play on an alt account, if you join a scrim on an alt account, I know that it's a bit of effort, but then you avoid the leaks. Otherwise, the leaks are just going to happen. It is what it is. Now, M80, they have Chet. Honestly, this is really, interesting, kind of confusing to me. They've not yet confirmed Victor, whether that is going to be a thing or not, but Chet is definitely, and B-Dog is gone. Chet is in as the coach. Of course, they've got Psycho as the kind of top guy over there who was beefing with Chet not that long ago, and then they've also got Drew Spark as the other coach. So, look, I don't know. I think it's a cool move. Clearly, M80, they're trying to find a way that they can make it to win Ascension again. Maybe Chet's going to be a key piece of the puzzle there. They're pulling out all the stops, let's put it that way, to make it happen. Is it going to work? I mean, it may well work. I just find the whole dynamic over there kind of surprising, maybe. And as Chet says, join M80 for challenges, #bomb squad. So we'll see how they get on. Let's do the Pacific. This series has just concluded. Gen.G took down DFM, and this was an absolute dominant performance. Gen.G, of course, were going to be the favourites, but this was not close. I mean, you guys can tell when the numbers are so low over a two-map series, you know that they got blown out bad. And that's what happened here. 13-2 Lotus, not even remotely close. Foxy9, he's back in. Now, this is crucial for Gen.G. They're playing around with their roster. They went 13-2, 13-4. Like, it was a complete bloodbath. DFM even won the first pistol, and then after that, it completely collapsed for them. But if we look at Gen.G's roster right now, they are running this six-man roster thing, right? Suggest has been in for a little bit, and then today they brought back Foxy9. Now, Foxy9, you know that I kind of rate him, bit of a soft spot for him. I know that he can be a bit of a volatile player, but I do rate him. I think he's good. And, well, he was back in the team today, and he fried. He absolutely fried. So, will Foxy9 stay? Will they sub him out again for future series? It's just, maybe they will feel like there's a bit of a correlation there between Foxy9 being in the team and the results being a bit better, because I mean, you got to wonder, right? Because DFM just got slammed. Paper X obviously lost the other day to Gen.G as well. That was when Suggest was in the roster. But it's been a super fascinating start to the year in the Pacific, especially with Paper X looking like they were struggling. But now in hindsight, you see, well, Paper X put up a good fight against Gen.G, and Gen.G completely slammed DFM. So maybe there's something else going on. This series is just underway. Zeta versus RRQ, the other one of the day, currently 4-3 to Zeta Division. So we'll see if they can get a win on the board for the Japanese side, because it would be cool to see Zeta, try and make it right through to the playoffs. It's not impossible right now. They started off 1-1, especially if this series goes well for them, right? They beat Team Secret. They lost a pretty close one to T1 at the end. So maybe this is it's a massive series, right, in terms of qualifying in the grand scheme of things. This Zeta RRQ series, both of them at 1-1. Notably on texture, gets to 2,000 kills in the Pacific as a region, so congratulations to him. And also two big games in EMEA yesterday, one of which was this, KC versus Movistar KOI, and this is a 2-0 and a pretty clean one at that. So maybe Sadak's system starting to pay some dividends. Of course, KOI have not been looking so good, but it was an absolute demolition job game one, 13-2, and then the Icebox was banger overtime, eventually Karmine Core take the victory. So we'll see, right? I mean, Sadak came into this team with huge expectations, let's be honest, for Karmine Core, right? They were intended to bring in Sadak, build an international team around him that was going to be able to deliver them championships in front of the crowd, and Sadak was going to be able to become, a cult hero over there in France after making the questionable decision, maybe not even questionable, it makes sense, but, the controversial decision, let's say, to leave Loud, come to Europe, come to KC, and look, they got the dub. They won the series. KOI continued to look pretty abysmal, but Karmine Core, they advanced to 1-1. They're looking good in terms of round differential, deltas, all that type of stuff. So, they've put themselves in a nice position after yesterday's result. At the end of the day, it's just about making it to the playoffs. Make it to the playoffs, of course, the seeding will take care of itself, and then from there, they'll think about what they're going to do. This, though, was a banger series. Vitality versus Fnatic, and the first evidence that we've really seen of Fnatic kind of being back, if you want to look at it from that perspective, right? Because, you know, Fnatic now for some time have looked a little bit out of sorts, maybe, you know, getting it back together again with Crashies and with Kayak in the roster, that's going to work out for them, and it seems to be doing so. But, look, 1-1 in series count, in map count, going into the final map on the Haven, and on the second pistol, Boaster comes out with an absolute banger 1v3 to win a crucial round. I mean, he talks about the Boaster smoke here on the Haven, which is maybe something worth thinking about because certainly won in this round. And from there, after winning that pistol, Fnatic then went on an absolute tear on their attacking side and won the game 13-10. So Vitality certainly have a lot to think about, given the fact that they won the first map 18-16. Boaster had a great first map as well. I mean, the aim training seems to finally be paying off. I mean, look at him go, 29 and 18 plus 11 with 17 assists. What a player, man. Great to see Boaster really having a great series, but they lost the game one regardless. I mean, this split should have been the decider, obviously, because an 18-16 split decider is VALORANT lore, but on this occasion it ended up being the game one. The Lotus then was pretty dominant for Fnatic, and then the Haven, as we mentioned, was a dominant attacking side from Vitality, which then was bounced back emphatically the other way around. Now, not a good result for Vitality. They'll have a lot to think about, right? Because, you know, they'd have felt, especially after winning the game one 18-16, it's impressive that Fnatic even had the mental resilience to bounce back at that point. And as Durka says, yikes from me, who cares about groups though, as long as you show up in the playoffs. But still, losing in that way, 9-3 curse in the final map, not ideal. And they'll have a lot to think about going forwards. I just wanted to quickly have a look at the stage because they're 1-1, it's okay, but their group is pretty strong, right? I mean, Na'Vi are here, Apex are here, Giant X are here. Fnatic now advanced to 2-0. So Fnatic and Heretics, they're looking real good. Vitality, I think, should still be fine, but, you know, it's all about making the playoffs. But if you make the playoffs in a lower seed, you get a harder first-round game. Not like Vitality should massively care about that if they play to their potential. But the Crashies move, it seems here, certainly involving Fnatic, seems to be working out in their favour. Loud, their new team, Luxo comes in and actually delivers a fantastic series here, right? I mean, Luxo really turned up, but unfortunately for him, it was not good enough. So Toys is gone, Luxo's in, Vinny's still there as the IGL, and, you know, unfortunately for Vinny, that is where the next questions are going to lie. Fortunately for him, though, Boostio was equally bad on the other side of the server, so maybe it didn't really matter all that much. The Haven was a 13-6 to Loud, Luxo went 20-11 on the Cypher, but after that, 100T did actually decide to arrive onto the server and bounce back. I mean, it looked like an impossible series for Loud to lose. They'd won the first game. They went up 13, they went up 9-2-3 on the first half of the Icebox. 100T won a crucial pistol. Cryo brought back a massive second half of the game. They won like all their attacking rounds. Cryo was 30-18 for the win. And then the split in the end was 13-8. Again, after a good start from Loud, 4-0 to Loud. 100T then brought it back. So, you know, Loud haven't been looking good so far. 100T can be happy with the victory for sure, but probably not how they had to get to the point. But it was still an impressive comeback, and as Boostio says, you know, great comeback from us. I'm so horrible though, like, please flame me. I need to play a bit better than I have been. People are saying you should be piling the pounds back on again, like he was playing better when he was fat and all this. I thought it was pretty funny in the replies. But look, still, 100T, a win is a win at the end of the day. That's kind of what it matters about in these group stages. And then we had Sentinels versus Evil Geniuses. This on paper shouldn't have been that close, and frankly it wasn't. But it wasn't in a way that definitely raises some questions, right? Because, well, the last couple of seasons, Potter and Evil Geniuses have got lots of support, lots of, you know, incredibly impressive what they achieved winning the World Championship and all that. But I will say some of the ideas and the strategies that EG have been cooking up haven't exactly delivered as they might have hoped for lately. And there will come a time where criticism is falling on somebody and you've got to wonder what they may or may not do. So Ye ends up on the Yoru here. Icy's on the Jet. Certainly one of the compositions of all time, and, well, it doesn't really work out for them that well. Zeltis had some nice moments, Gen.G had some nice moments as well with the Teho. I mean, yeah, the Sen Teho, like, when he comes out. Sentinels always do those graphics, right, when the new agent comes along, and they put them in Sentinels gear. So it worked out for them right about here, and Sentinels just absolutely crushed in this series. So, yeah, they were the favourites, but it was a compelling victory. I think it was good for Narrate and Bang to be at least at the top of the rating scoreboard here, because like Narrate especially has been the player probably under most criticism lately. I mean, you could argue Zelsis, but also the experience that he brings I think is still valuable. Zekken should never and will never go anywhere really. Gen.G's been an excellent leader for these guys, and Bang's been pretty solid, if not especially spectacular. Narrate has been the player that many Sentinels fans have wanted to see a bit more from, and we saw it in this series. 13-4 on the Haven, Narrate was 21-9, and then the second map on the Pearl, 13-6. So both maps super crushing, Evil Geniuses go down. Ye tried his best, to be fair to him, on the Yoru. It's not like the composition was bad, it was just interesting, right, to see Ye turn up on the Yoru there in the end. And Icy did okay, but yeah, in the end, not enough, and Gen.G's Teho cleared Derek's Teho, and that was just about enough. So yeah, Narrate was talking some trash, he was saying bye-bye to the other team. I think it was nice to see some of the energy from Narrate and the Sentinels guys back in the building as well, and eventually it's Evil Geniuses that go down. So questions to be asked on their side. They're now 1-2, sitting in that spot. They still have Crew to play, Loud to play, so you know, they've of course already taken their 2G win. So it's a pretty big deal for Evil Geniuses. Getting a map on the board yesterday would have been pretty big for them, but of course they didn't. They must win the Loud series. I mean, EG Loud is always kind of, we've seen that a fair few times. That is going to happen again. They play Crew as well, which is going to be tough with the way that those two teams are currently looking. So yeah, 2G Crew is going to give us an indication as to whether anything has changed in 2G since their most recent change. And then we kick into gear on the Bravo side, or the Group Omega, where there are so many more big games still to come. So Sentinel's happy about it. Obviously, Zelsis is giving his thoughts as well after a clean victory, and it puts them in a nice spot as well. I mean, if we have a look back at here as well, Sentinels are now 2-1. They're sitting pretty, they're in no danger. Loud are 0-3, you know, realistically there's no chance for them. Sentinels play Loud next, and then it's Evil Geniuses versus Loud as well, and Sen's last game is against 2G. So, you know, Sen have played their hard games on paper. They've played 100T, they've played Crew, they've played Evil Geniuses, and now they get, you know, what should be the easier teams in Loud and 2G based on recent evidence. But, yeah, will that work out in reality? Who knows? If they secure a good seed, that should be good, but also, it's tough to say what seeding do you want from Group Alpha. I think Sentinels, ever since this group came out, and 100T and probably Crew, would have felt like, okay, yeah, we can qualify from this group without too many difficulties. But Group Omega is so stacked that really whoever, like wherever you finished in Group Alpha, you're going to play a good team. You're going to play a C9, a G2, an MRBR, or likely an NRG, one of those four. And so wherever you are in the groups in the Americas, in the Group Alpha side, you're going to play a pretty damn difficult game in the first round. But of course, you got to beat the best to be the best and all that type of good stuff. So very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.